Hi everybody, hello again. My name is Kiki and this is Ashley with me. Today's theme is Introduction to Essential Oil. We're covering from the emotional aspect of using essential oil. I'm a yoga teacher and today we are covering spearmint and eucalyptus. The theme is soft love expression. We're focusing on our fifth chakra here in our throat, how to be soft in our expression, or how to maybe be more clear and out loud, and how essential oils can help us with that. So I'll pass my word to Ashley now.
Hi everyone, thank you so much, Kiki. As Kiki mentioned, my name is Ashley Turner, and I'm here to talk about all things essential oils. We'll try and keep it short and sweet so that we can really get into the heart and soul of the theme today. So I've been actually using essential oils for the past 6 years now and have turned my love for the oils into a business in the past 2 years. My intention for this first part of the class is to help you guys understand the power of essential oils and how you can use it on not only yourself and but also your family. So I've done my job today if you leave knowing 3 cool things about essential oils. And obviously, Kiki's done her job if you leave knowing 3 new things about the throat chakra and self-love. Okay, so what are we going to cover today? Like we said, the theme is soft love. It's all about expression. And we're also going to go back to the basics. We're going to talk about what are essential oils, how they work, how they're produced, and how you can use them. So what are essential oils? Well, essential oils are basically extracts from plants that have amazing health benefits. A pure oil is 50 to 70 times more powerful than a regular herb. So if you think 1 drop of peppermint oil is actually equivalent to 28 cups of peppermint tea. So they're super potent, but they're 100% natural and safe. There's nothing added to the oil or taken away from the oil. They're just simply pure essential oils with no side effects and no addictions. They're safe for babies, children, adults, and even the elderly. So, like I said, one of the, they're 50 to 70 times more powerful than a regular herb. But what you'll find when you go out there on the market is that there's so many different brands, you never know what in the world, what's the best one. Well, the best oils to use are CPTG standard. It stands for Certified Pure Therapeutic Grade, and it means these oils are completely pure and completely potent, excuse me. Pure means that there's no foreign contaminants or fillers, and potent means that each plant is grown in a part of the world where the plants grow best, resulting in the absolute best chemistry for that plant. So when you have ideal natural chemistry, the essential oil extracted does exactly what we want it to do for our health. And so that brings me into how essential oils work. Well, essential oils work in perfect chemistry with our bodies, helping to support our body's systems, and they can actually be more effective than modern approaches to health problems. So first, if we've got any medical professionals on our webinar today, I just want to say what I'm about to share next is going to sound super elementary to you. But most of us that are using essential oils in our day-to-day lives now don't actually have the medical training you do. So I really want to simplify things down so it makes sense to everyone. And this is how it made sense to me too when I was first learning. So we're all going to go back to Biology 101 if that's all right with you. So let's say this is a cell in your body. And we know that cells have oily cell membranes. Well, the cell membrane protects the cell and it keeps all good things in and all the bad things out. Now, 2 of the things that are harmful to our cells are bacteria and viruses. Bacteria normally form on the outside of the cell, whereas viruses can duplicate the DNA on the inside of the cell. So all you have to remember for this is bacteria on the outside and viruses on the inside. Now, let's say you go to the doctor, you go to the doctor and you've got a bacterial infection. Well, what's he going to recommend to you? He's going to give you an antibiotic. And after taking the antibiotic for 7 to 10 days in most cases, it's going to clear up the infection, right? But it comes with wreaking havoc on our gut, our hormones, our immune systems. It's nasty stuff, as we know. But if you've got a virus like a cold or a flu, what's he going to say? Well, he's going to say, go home, drink lots of water, rest, and just let it run its course. Now, the reason why is because most of modern medications or recommendations are water-based synthetic agents and frequently come with side effects and addictions. So water and oil don't mix, right? So if the recommendation from your doctor is water-based, it's going to have a hard time penetrating through that oily cell membrane and stopping the duplication of the virus. Essential oils are oil-based, of course, which means that they can permeate that cell membrane. So they can work on a cellular level without side effects or addictions. And they can actually combat the bacteria on the outside of the cell while also really getting into that, the inside of the cell and permeate through the oily cell membrane to combat for like a cold or a flu on the inside of your cells. That's why we say that they're often more effective than modern approaches to health problems. So how are essential oils produced? Well, there's two main ways that essential oils are produced: steam distillation or cold pressed. Now, steam distillation is actually just how it sounds, using steam. And it uses for things such as our eucalyptus or peppermint, whereas the cold pressed ones are more for your citrus oils. And that's obviously your lemons, your limes, your grapefruits, and your oranges. So that's the two main ways of how essential oils are produced in a nutshell. I'm going to pass it back over to KikI, who's going to talk a little bit more about how we can use essential oils, and specifically the two spotlights of our essential oils this week.
Thank you, Ashley. So there's three ways of using it. Aromatically, so it's great to use it. I use it in my bedroom, and I put lavender oil for sleep. It reduces stress and it promotes positivity. So it really depends what kind of oil do you want to use, for how do you feel, and what are you trying to enhance, and that's what you put in your diffuser. I would personally say it could be one of the safest way to use. I'll go into this, why am I saying safe? Because it's very mild. You can literally control how much of the oil do you want to use, how much of the intensity you want to get. So that in that way, it's the safest way, and it's safe for the kids. Now, that being said, I'm talking about doTERRA essential oils, and as Ashley mentioned, is certified therapeutic grade, which means that there's no chemicals. And that's why what I talk when I mentioned safe. But even though that being said, they're natural, there's no chemicals, I would still advise there's an aromatical, there's topical, and there is internal usage. So if we are putting on the skin, I would always say test it, because the same as with medication or anything else that you use, the food, anything that you use, you always want to be a little bit careful, and just not being so careful, but just making sure that you're safe, and you're taking the right approach, especially if you're using it on kids, and doTERRA is safe to use on kids, as the photo is showing. Usually I would put it on my daughter's feet. One of the favorite one would be obviously lavender. It's very mild, but there are different oils also that can be used on the kids. Majority of them can be used. Depending on the age of the kids, some oils are really, really strong in essence, so there has to be a little bit careful of the age of the kids, and they always would be diluted with fractionated coconut oil. Now, if you use it on your own skin topically, I use it depending on the oil. I use it on my chest, I use it on my wrist. Mostly I use it on my feet, especially if I don't like the smell. The skin is the biggest organ. So if you apply it on your skin, regardless where you apply, it will break through the skin and you will get the benefits out of it. And then the third way is internally. But once again, just to say and repeat again and again and again, not all oils can be used internally. Majority of doTERRA essential oils can be used, and it states on the bottle. There are researches that have given us the proof that yes, it's safe and it can be used. I usually use lemon essential oil, but this is not our theme today. Also in the veggie caps, as you can see on the photo under the tongue, but it really depends on the oil. This is just to bring you an overall idea of how these oils can be used. And now I would like to go to my main topic. So there are two essential oils that I've chosen for this theme. The theme is called self-love expression. So as I said at the beginning, you may have noticed there that there are different people differently expressing their ways, and some have problems with expressing and being out there and being authentic. Some don't feel like doing that at all. They just don't want to express. Because oils have frequency, especially potent oils, they do activate the certain frequency within ourselves, and it can help us in many different ways. Now, the eucalyptus that I wanted to talk about. So firstly, their facts and uses. I think facts are quite impressive. They're sourced from Australia. I'm missing that word there. So it's the biggest in Australia. It's the biggest plant. It takes 74% of the whole vegetation in Australia. So it's a very popular plant there. And doTERRA, when they're sourcing their oils, they're looking globally what's the best soil and best place to source it from. This is super important to know as well, because some plants are growing in different countries, but that doesn't mean that the soil and the vegetation would produce the best possible plant that can then produce the best possible oil. There's 420 studies about eucalyptus oil. I think this is very important to know and say, because there are many studies that have proven what we're talking about here. And I just found this, it's so funny that koalas survive on diets eating only eucalyptus, and they eat an average 200 kilograms of leaves each year. I just thought that's so funny. I love koalas. They just hang there and they just eat their leaves. And luckily in Australia they have enough to do that and enjoy. It's obviously steam distillated. The uses, so as I said, I'm focusing on this steam. I'm using it for this, but each oil has various different uses. So if you take one oil, that doesn't mean that it's only for that use. I'm a yoga teacher and I'm focusing on different energy centers, and I'm using those oils to balance my emotional stability. So this eucalyptus, where I use it is if I want to decrease feeling of tension and promote relaxation. So what I would say is, if you feel unwell and you need to stand up and talk, and you recognize yourself as being, I'm one of them, that's why I use this one, and you recognize yourself as being one of that people that, oh, I'm sick, and it's like, oh, I'm sick, I'm not sure, I can't go out there, I can't really be myself, and you're getting that frequency in your brain and your body takes it in. This is a great oil for that. It just promotes the feeling of responsibility. It promotes a bit of relaxation, and it encourages to let go of attachment, to being a victim of compromise. These are big words maybe, but as I said, if you feel unwell, if you feel unstable, if you feel you need to go out and talk, but you're not really feeling being yourself, but you need to communicate and verbalize stuff, then this oil, I usually use it on my wrist and I put it a little bit under my nose. But that being said, I use it quite a lot. So it has a strong smell, so it may not be the best way to use it that way. So then you put it on your feet. It's still going to work with your emotions, but it's not going to take you over with the smell. And then the second oil, the magic wand. This oil, Ashley introduced me to that oil, and she was like, you know, whenever I speak, I just take spearmint. And she gave me a small little sample, which I still have. It takes a tiny little bit, and it takes a tiny little bit too. The strong is not as strong as peppermint, but still has that essence to it, and it's quite invigorating. So just a little bit about the facts and uses. It takes 1.5 kg of spearmint and matter, so leaves, to make 15 milliliter of essential oil butter. It's quite impressive how much of that nature medicine, as I call it, it takes to get that one bottle. So if you bring that into your mind and then think that every bottle has 250 drops, in 50 milliliters, you get quite a lot of usage because it's quite potent. So you're not going to go like a lot of the time people say, and you just take 1 drop and you go blah, 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 and you get like 3-4 drops into your palm. No, you don't do that. It takes literally, you put the bottle on the top of your hand. That's how I use it. I turn it around, I swirl it around, and I bring it back. So I don't use 3 or 4 drops by accident because they're so potent, they're so precious, and they're so real. So there's no need to overload yourself. In the Middle Ages, I think this is quite interesting that in the Middle Ages, spearmint was commonly scattered on the floor to get rid of the rodents. I actually had to Google this, and it means rats. And it encourages a good health. So it's a big cleaner, basically. It can be used for cleaning quite well, but that's not our subject today. There's 111 published studies on benefits of spearmint. Once again, what we're talking about here has been put out there, and it's real, people. It's sourced from India, and it's steam distillated. So the uses, as I mentioned at the beginning, confident speech, clarity, confidence, courageous. So it really, as I was saying, that Ashley said to me, and it really works well that way. When you feel you want to express, you lack a bit of a confidence, you start sweating and you're not sure, but you want to be authentic, you want yourself to come out when you stand up and you talk, this oil does that magic. So it's a helpful remedy for those struggling with communicating clearly for wide ranges of reasons, emotional clearance of what one wants to say. So as I said, you have the urge and you have what you have to say, but you kind of really have desire for that to come out, and you feel a bit sweaty, and you bit, you know that you may go in a different directions. Use spearmint. So yeah, those 2 oils I found really powerful, helpful for me when I work on that 5th chakra. When I work with my energy center that involves speaking, I'm quite talkative, and I'm quite harsh in my words. Eucalyptus makes me a little bit softer. Spearmint gets me a little bit more being clear about it. And I've used it various different ways, and I use it when I do my asanas and when I work, and I really work on that area. And sometimes people say, it really stands here. I want to speak up, but it's here and I can't get it out. Those 2 oils, test them. They do the job. Yeah, so that's from me, I think. Yeah, Ashley, you're gonna finish it up now, maybe?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, KikI. Yeah, and spearmint is the oil of authentic voice. So it is so amazing to use this, obviously, just for your throat chakra. But when I speak a lot to my screen, as you guys can imagine, I used to before we had, or now that we can't do events, but I used to always use that, and I still do to this day if I have to get my words out and I'm just struggling with them. But what's really great about essential oils is that you can use them in so many different ways. So when I first started using essential oils, I knew peppermint was good for a headache, and I knew that a blend called Deep Blue was really good for backaches and inflammation. And so I got my pack. I started with Family Collections kit. It's 10 oils, and because I just wanted a pack so I could really start using them into my lifestyle. So when I got them, I thought, okay, well, I know these few bits and bobs. And so I'll just get started and play around with the oils and see what happens, right? But I was at a yoga class, and shortly after I got my oils and I got my membership, and I was getting all excited about the oils, and the instructor did, she was going around with lemongrass. We were all in Savasana, dead man's pose. And she was going around with lemongrass. She's putting a drop in her hand and rubbing her hands like this and just putting it over your face. And then she'd do the head rub. Oh, the head rub, right? I love a head rub. So I was waiting patiently, and I absolutely loved it. She just gave us a little bit of a head rub with that lemongrass, and it totally gave me a zing. And I thought, I need to have this. So I added lemongrass to my oil collection, and I started using it every single day. And actually, instead of perfume, I don't really use perfume anyways, but I just smelled like lemongrass all the time. Because every morning, right before I would head on the tube and head into work, I was doing this. And I was rubbing my head, and then I was smelling the lemongrass all day. Well, unbeknown to me, what was happening is a few years later, I find out that lemongrass is great for getting you unstuck to where you are. So on an emotional side of things, it helps you, kind of gives you a bit of shove in the butt and gets you unstuck. Well, when I first started using lemongrass, I was working in a corporate job in central London, and I was working about 60 hours a week. I was just drained emotionally, mentally, physically. I was done. The only thing that was keeping me upright was Starbucks, and a lot of it. I think their shares went down when I quit my corporate job. But anyways, but once I started using lemongrass, my whole everything shifted. But I didn't realize it until years later, because it was allowing me to get unstuck and realize I don't need to be in that job. Like, just stop banging your head against the wall and do something you love. And so slowly my path just started to shift, and I started to get into the oils more. And that's where I got today. So that's why I'm sharing that with you guys, because I don't want you to think that you just have to use oils for, your throat chakra, or, for a tummy ache or anything, a headache. You can use them for so many different things. Get the oils, get them in your home, open up the bottle, and you're not going to regret it, no matter how you start using them. So on this last slide, we've got our 2 Facebook channels. We got KikI Yoga. Follow that. You'll get some really amazing tips, tricks. Kiki's in the middle of a 7-part series on chakras, obviously, and she talks about meditation, journaling, and yoga for busy people, just so that we've got a little bit of grounding in our lives. It's really cool and really easy to incorporate into your life. And then you can also follow at Well Oil Machine. Now, that's a private Facebook group, and we talk about all things essential oils. So those are the few ones that I would definitely check out. And we are so happy that you are here to join us today. So I just want to leave you with something. Where there are oils, there is goodness. And where there is goodness, there is magic. Thank you all for joining us today. I hope you have a lovely evening, and we look forward to seeing you next week. Namaste.
Thank you, Ashley.